One of these days I'll have to sit down and, yep, it sure looks like it. It's gone live. No, it's not made for kids. Fun, fun, fun. Yep, it seems to be working. That's what I like.
That's a good start.
Good start. Yes, sir. So, it seems to be working. That's what I like.
That's a good start.
Good start. Yes, sir. Trying to keep up with all the different things going in with the world. So you've been a big fan of U-Boat from the beginning. You actually wrote the review for Subsim for me, and you did a really good job. Tell me what your first impressions of U-Boat were when you got it.
Well, I was excited about U-Boat when I first saw the reveal videos before it was even released. I was like, man, I can't wait to get my hands on this thing. But um, at first, yeah, it's kind of been fun watching U-Boat grow up because at first I thought it was when I first got my hands on it, it was almost a little, I don't know, campy or cheesy because you could shoot your cook for burning the scrambled eggs, and they've done away with a lot of those kinds of things. But it's originally had drawn a lot of its inspiration off of the survival sandbox type games, and as it's grown the last few years or a couple of years, that's kind of transitioned into drawing a lot of its inspiration from a deeper well of like your Silent Hunter 3 and 4 and those types of subsims. So it's kind of been fun to watch it sort of you know develop over time into what it is now.
Yeah, it has made a big splash. I mean, it is sort of like the sequel to Silent Hunter 5 in a way. Sandbox games, something I think we've been looking forward to for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it does have a lot of Silent Hunter 5 elements in it, and one of the things I really like that they did is the cutaway view. Uh, we go back to like these games like Silent Hunter 3 and 4, where you've got like the 2D ship schematic sort of damage control,
Yeah.
and you can click on a compartment, it'll tell you what's wrong, and your guys will just fix it. But now we've got away from that sort of schematic page to now we have a live real-time cutaway of the ship, and it's going to show you what. I mean, if you want to know what's damaged, all you got to do is walk up and look at it.
Yeah. Now, how do you think the developers' response has been to the feedback they've got from the players?
I visit the Steam discussion boards not daily, but I do visit quite a bit, and um, I gotta hand it to the dev team. I mean, Deepwater Studios, anytime they get a bug report, these guys just work their tails off to kind of get these things squashed, and we've called it a labor of love, and it almost has to be in this genre because it's such a niche thing. It's not like your first person shooters where you've got a team of 100 people working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But they just go all in, and I'm not sure, but I think this might be their first big publishing.
So
U-Boat.
they did a good. They're off to a good start. I mean, from my perspective, the game had a pretty wide scope to start with, and the environment and the graphics were really first rate. I mean, I really love to watch the U-boat sailing on the ocean. That looks really good.
Yeah, I play for just for a performance standpoint. I mean, I've got a pretty decent rig, but the even with my water effects turned as low as they go, I mean, it's still. I mean, it looks great.
Well, I was going to say, let's see if I can get the game to start, and I will stream. Hopefully, or not stream, but what do you call it? I'll get the game to show up on my share my screen. That's it. All right, we're looking for U-boat. And let's see what happens when I hit play. Okay, I'm going to see if I can share the screen now. Stream U-boat. There we go. you should be able to see it here. Play.
This is one of the things I like about U-Boat is when you download these mods, you get this, we used to have, what was it called? The SH3 Commander. Or, I'm sorry, not that. The
JoneSoft?
the generic mod enabler. Well, you get sort of a stock mod enabler that comes up right away, and it's nice to be able to work with that because you can just turn mods on and off.
Yeah.
But the kind of the downside to the modding community right now, the modding community is really active, but the downside to that is Deep Waters is coming out with new stuff so frequently that they kind of have to jump through their own tails to get these mods up to date because sometimes there's just not backwards compatibility.
Sure. Yeah, that's one reason why Oscar and the devs for Wolfpack have said that they're not offering any support for mods until the game is finished because they know there's going to be a lot of rework required.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, tell me, can you see the game?
I can.
Okay, let's see if I've got it over here. Yep, looks like I've got it here. Okay, so now I am going to hit new game, right?
Yep, let's see, it jumped away. I think you're back on there you go.
Okay.
So yeah, you're going to go into new game, and basically what we start out with is you've got like your, I don't know if you want to call them stories there on the left.
Yeah.
So U-48, the war begins. That's kind of like your, I think it starts you 2 or 3 days before the invasion of Poland. Then you move into the Atlantic War. The Arctic campaigns, Mediterranean. I don't even know if they've got the Mediterranean populated with units yet. I haven't been in there, but U-48 there at the top is really just kind of a good place to start.
Perfect.
And one of the things that I don't like right out of the gate is the budget system, and what we had renown in the Silent Hunter series. Now you have reputation points. So you don't get a lot of that to start with. So like a lot of these things like rebreathers and torpedoes and all of that, as a new captain on the base, you're using your budget and your reputation points to buy these things, and it kind of seems like some of this stuff should be standard issue.
Yeah. So you're kind of making do until you get more reputation.
Yeah, and until you develop a name for your skipper, you're sort of low man on the totem pole there.
All right, so difficulty normal. That sounds like what I should start with.
What it's going to do in the lower right-hand corner when you hit next, it's going to allow you to set up your various difficulty settings. So okay. I think when it's starting about when it's saying the difficulty there, it's the overall difficulty of that campaign.
Right.
So I use the hardcore aiming, and the only difference between entertaining, balanced, and hardcore that I've been able to find is in the entertaining, your crew can just calculate targeting solutions and all of that for you, and you just point and click and it'll do it for you. Balanced gives you a combination between you can hardcore it yourself, or you can have your crew target that ship, for example, and they'll calculate the solution. And then hardcore is you're on your own, your crew will not do anything for you. I mean, they'll load the torpedoes and heat them up and all that, but you've got to gather all the targeting data yourself. So whichever one of those three you're most comfortable with. I mean, you're obviously a seasoned Silent Hunter player, so you should be no stranger to hardcore mode.
Nope, I agree. I think as long as I've got you to get me started on the interface, I'll probably be fine. Okay.
Yep.
How much involved?
So now that you've selected that, now that you've done that, you'll go to the bottom right and go to the next. It'll allow you to select the difficulty in the crew management. I use expert, but I've got a lot of play time, so like intermediate might be a good one for you.
Okay.
But
let's do that.
I don't think you're gonna have any problem with that either.
All right, gameplay perspective. What's the perspective? First person or normal? Okay. AI difficulty.
Yes.
Economic.
So, An interesting thing that I'll point out is in your damage difficulty setting,
Yeah.
they have kind of this remark at the bottom that I just noticed the other day. So if you hover over the where it says damage difficulty, it says here that if you pursue realism, we recommend the average, which I'm assuming they mean medium setting, because it's.
Okay.
It says here there's limited data to support claims that there's an observational bias towards the survivability based on photographs and written records. So I run on medium. And the reason I do that is if you put it on hard, you're going to get what I call nuisance damage. So if you dive very deep, torpedo hatches will leak and things like that. It just happens with less frequency, it seems, when you use easy or medium.
Okay, let's do that then. Everything else looks good. I'm going next. I'm excited about getting out in the harbor. I've done the tutorial a couple times. Voice 1, body heavy, looks all good, looks good. Hairstyle bald, that sounds about right. Hair color, okay. Oh, I get to pick a name.
Yep, it'll, when you go to the next, it'll let you pick the name, but you can really kind of, some of the fun here is you get to customize your entire crew right down to the lowest rating. Which, I mean, that's fun for some people and others may not care, but
yeah, you know, a lot of people like that activity. It's engaging.
Yeah, you kind of develop a crew that I don't know, it's almost like you're a little bit closer to them and don't want to lose them if you made them all from scratch, I guess you could say.
Yeah, you got a closer association. All right, we're at the loading screen. Come on, baby. Loading, loading, loading. The little circle stopped going around though. There it goes. It's trying to come back to life.
Yeah, and I don't know if you played through it, maybe trying to build a cache or something.
Maybe so. It'll eventually get loaded. At least it's got a nice graphic to look at while it's loading. Wolfpack's just a black screen. A lot of times people think the game is froze up on them. Port of Wilhelmshaven. Okay, we're in business. Oh yeah. Black Friday. Here we are. Getting our orders, I suppose.
Yeah, for the first, for your first patrol, it's basically going to give you a shakedown, I suppose. But you know, you have an opportunity here to provision your boat, and that's kind of the frustrating thing is you don't start out with a whole lot of budget or reputation points, so you're kind of limited. They give you this little intro, sweeping views here. It's kind of nice. Pretty good interior.
Great interior. Looks like what I would expect. Okay, so I think you and I are talking in real time, but you're probably seeing my screen about 5 seconds after me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk
yep.
To
So.
that guy, and then get some orders here.
Training.
Okay.
Yes. So this brings up the menu where you can look for orders from the Admiralty, but if you click around anywhere, it'll get rid of that message.
Now, can I click on any of these 5 options, or do I have to click on the first one? Crew needs training.
I have my tutorial turned off, so I don't think you have to do the training. But if you had the tutorial turned on, okay.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go with the tutorial then.
Yeah, let's see what it does.
Okay. Explore the secrets of the game. It's recommended you complete the mission from first to last. All right, I'm good for that. I just want to learn how to interface with the game and get comfortable with that. So, training resupply. Click on here and start a conversation. Click on this box.
What do you need, officer?
Oh, this poor bastard. He's lost an eye.
And it's funny because no matter what port you go to, you got this same guy following you around the world.
That's part of the job, man. You got to have that look. Nobody's going to come in and mess with you. All right, so I've got a bunch of stuff here. Let's see what it tells me. On the left side is the stuff I can get out of port. And on the right side, my current budget. Oh, that's not on the, that's my right marks. And on the right side that's my inventory. Okay. Drag from one window to the other. Piece of cake. So what do I want, John? Food? Looks like they're telling me I want food. At least 30 units of food. Okay, well we all like potatoes.
Yeah, I think so. For this first tutorial, they kind of dictate what you do and don't buy. So, everybody, you gotta give them something to peel.
I want me to buy 1,000 potatoes. I just want to buy 20.
Oh, you only have 39, and you only have 39 there in port. So if you, I think you can type in there and manually put 39.
Okay. Let's see if it'll let me do that. Moving 0 of 20.
All right, and then maybe get some cheese or something. There you go. That's bacon wrapped jalapeno.
I can't beat that. All right, to ensure we have enough. Complete the mission, return to port. Click the highlighted tab. Oh, there it is. Fuel. So how much do I need? I just need to refuel. Yep. That's good amounts. That's how much I have.
So that's, yes, well that slider, if you slide it across, it shows the top on your fuel tank. There, that's how much you have. So just slide the bar across a little bit and hit refuel.
Roger that.
There you go. Now hit refuel and it should add quite a bit. Now this is the same routine you're going to go through pretty much before every cruise. You got to buy, and they want you now to buy 3 torpedoes. Now I'll tell you, if you take a look at the budget there, Type 2 torpedoes are free.
They're free? Okay, so I need to take 3 of them then.
Yeah, the Type 1s, they have the selectable speeds, but they cost you 200 budget.
I don't mind Type 2s for training anyway. Okay. It's not an instant process. It takes time. I bet it does. As long as I'm the captain, I don't have to do this, though. Click the button to skip the wait. There's the button. Okay,
yeah, up on the top right.
Here. Mission completed. Okay. What's next? I can look at the U-boat. It is pretty. Man, the graphics are amazing.
Yeah, your AWSD keys will move you around, or you can probably, I have my side scrolling turned off. You can side scroll with the mouse. Spacebar pauses it.
Beautiful. You even got a nice effect when you pause it. Okay, so are we ready to head to sea?
I think so. If you'll go to your commanding officer there by the gangway.
Okay, with a little speech bubble.
Admiralty is deeply impressed by your last patrol.
And you'll just talk to him and he'll give you some orders.
Okay. Are there any orders? Opens up the assignment desk. I like the sound of that.
These are current orders from headquarters. Your eyes only.
Yeah, this is
that's
nice.
what you want.
Okay, patrol sector. We'll just go with the first one. We'll select it. Let's see what it's telling me on the side here. First patrol objectives. Okay, get a reward. All right.
So each one of these has different difficulties. So we'll just start out with that first one.
Okay.
And to leave the port, in your top right-hand corner, you've got your engine order telegraph icon. If you click that, it'll bring the engine order telegraph up.
Okay.
So that's your rudder, depth meter, and telegraph. So you'll actually select the diesel engines there and give it a head slow.
We're slowing down.
Here we go.
And it will. Now it takes just a second for the guy to walk over there and throw the thing into gear or whatever. So it does simulate that.
That's nice.
It's not instantaneous.
Yeah.
It's a good looking boat.
It's a great looking boat. Man, this game is nice looking. And I mean, this is like Side 105, just where it left off.
Yeah, if you look, the ports are pretty abandoned at the moment. Now you do have some road traffic and some civilians walking around here and there, but I think with subsequent versions of this, they're going to start adding in German merchant ships and warships and whatnot.
That's fair enough. This is really nice. Okay, so now if I want to go ahead and
If you want to time compress, I think is what you're wanting to do. If you on the top left, you've only got a couple of time compression options because you're real close to land.
Okay.
And it doesn't want you to like crash your boat into anything. So just go up there and hit like 12 or 48.
Okay.
Speed you along a little bit. You're going to go up here through the lock. And the interesting thing about this is the game actually simulates high and low tide. So when you go into this lock, the water level will adjust.
Okay.
From
lock
what's
is straight ahead
in
of
port.
me, John?
Yep, and what you've done, if you go to the top right to the globe, when you just throw the thing into gear in your engine order telegraph and start moving, it automatically plots a course out of port. Okay. So your helmsman is following a predetermined course to get you out of port. Okay. So if you click on that and zoom in, he's at least plotted you a course out there to what used to be in GWX, that giant minefield.
Yep.
I still, to this day, no matter what subsim I'm playing, I steer wide around that.
Yep. It's conditioned into you. Now I want to go straight ahead. That's the lock ahead of me, right? And they'll open it?
Yep, so your helmsman's going to automatically get you out to sea here.
Okay, so all I have to do is just don't touch anything and ride along, right?
Yep, you're just enjoying the view at this point.
Ah, I see it. Door's just open for me.
And it'll be that one straight ahead. See, it'll open up.
Gotcha.
It'll automatically stop the engine order telegraph too.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice that I don't have to micromanage these small details.
Yeah.
Got the pilot.
There's enough in these to micromanage.
Yeah. Okay, so we're out to sea, and he's going to continue to make my course changes. And he's turning.
So now, if you go back up to that globe, that'll put you on your navigational chart.
Right.
In the top right-hand corner, and you can finish plotting your course out, old school Silent Hunter 3 style. So if you hold the shift key, if you zoom out a little bit,
yeah,
and you hold the shift key and I believe it's right click, it'll set your next waypoint.
Okay.
Where you want that to be. So you don't have to really click on anything, just hold shift and where you want to drag it out to.
Set a course to these coordinates.
Okay, I'm doing that now. Now I'm headed towards my assigned target area on the east coast of England.
Yeah, and I'll usually get in there and there's no predetermined search patterns like we are used to, so I usually just kind of make one up.
Okay, well this is
and
pretty cool.
Get in there and cruise around.
When I played the tutorial, the first couple times I played it, because this game came out right after Wolfpack came out, and I was crunched for time. I was working for Airgas, putting in 70-hour work weeks, and I tried to get into this game, but I stalled out a couple times just on the tutorial, and I never invested the time to find out, what I needed to do to make it work. So in the back of my mind, there's always been this, one of these days you're going to get some time and you're going to go ahead and get back in the U-boat. And
yeah, I think part of the big early learning curve for people is the user interface. It's a little bit different than what we're used to in a lot of subsims.
It's not bad. It's just I wasn't used to it. All right, so I see my little sub moving along here. I can go up to 1800x.
Yeah, once we get well clear land, it'll open up all the way to 6500. But in typically shallow waters, it takes those faster time compressions away from you.
Okay, so then this is telling me I have a radio message. And we are at war. We are ready to fire. Okay. Hans works in the radio room. Request play music, leave the station. Okay, leave the station. Now, I'm obviously, when you get to this point, you'll see that I've switched to first-person view. And I can walk around in the sub, right?
Yes, you can with this character. So when you clicked on leave station, that meant that you wanted that particular character to, abandon that post, essentially. You can take this time to explore the interior of the U-boat. You got, what's his name up there? heating up a torpedo. This is obviously, you know what this is, your sonar shack.
Yeah.
So he'll get out of our way. You can just go right through that hatch. See, now a sailor has just taken your place because they don't want to leave it
That's pretty cool.
unmanned. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll show you something that I didn't understand. Maybe it's an Easter egg. If you go back to the captain's bunk,
Yes, sir. Going back to the captain's bunk now. It'll take you a second to see it. Actually, I'm doing a shuffle. Here we go. Back to the captain's bunk. Yeah.
if you look to the left there, at the foot of the captain's bed on the wall, I have to step back. Around that curtain,
There's a cat.
there's a picture of a cat and a captain's hat. I think I've seen that picture somewhere before, but I don't. Maybe not.
Yeah, that is totally post-millennial, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, they've done a really nice job of this boat. It's got a great feel to it, too. All right.
Yeah, when you order your crash dives, the guys will run through there, you know, just like we expect.
Yeah.
You've
Go
got,
back in the
you know,
control
pictures of family members and whatnot. In all the. Yep.
All right, what are we doing here? Climb up. He can really climb. And we're on the bridge. And I need to have a taller guy. There we go, step on the step. Oh, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Got my lookouts posted. What is this guy? He's the first officer, or what is he? He is the...
That's the captain.
That's the captain, okay.
Yeah, so you can... A unique thing about U-boat is you can sort of occupy the body of any officer aboard the boat.
Okay, what's the right click, left click?
The way you can do that is if you mouse wheel out.
Okay.
That's going to bring you back to that section view. It should.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So down on the bottom right, you can cycle through these officers and each of their icons. If you, yeah, see there. So you're going to spend a lot of time playing U-boat, especially in a damage control scenario, in this section view.
Yeah.
And if you use the A and D keys, or you may be able to edge scroll on your, depending on what your settings are, you can go all the way to the bow, all the way to the stern, and see what's going on anywhere in your boat.
I am side scrolling now, looking at all my dudes laying in their beds. Side scrolling back. And that must have been a heck of a challenge to get all this put together to where all the, the sides disappear.
Yeah.
There's the cook. Although for some reason I got the feeling that the galleon, this boat is opposite from the galleon Wolfpack. Everything's exactly mirrored the other way. I can't swear to you which is right, but it looks different. There's Weber. He's my chief mechanic.
Look at those diesels.
Yeah.
And if you mouse wheel, you can zoom way in there. Now, if you go too far, it's gonna put you into first-person view of whatever officer you have selected. Now, your row of officers down here, each one of their frames has a little, it's almost like an Apple map pinpoint in the top left corner of their frame. I don't know if you can see that.
An Apple map.
You know, like the Google Maps pin.
Is it a little round?
So
I see a little round red icon.
Yeah, you see the little, like hover over your commander.
Okay, hang on, I gotta get back to it. I just made a detour. Okay, my commander has binoculars, it's got a little crosshair, and it's got a little round red icon in the top right corner with a 0 in it.
Yep, so when you hover over him, you open up some options there on the left side of his little...
I see it, yeah. Plus,
frame.
A no and a bed.
Yep, so plus and the minus adds sailors to assist him. So right now, the binoculars tell you that he's on watch.
Okay.
So he's up on deck and he's on watch duty. So if you want sailors to assist him with watch, you can add 2 watchmen. So there's a couple of ways to do this. You can click the plus sign twice, and that'll give him 2 sailors to assist, or you can hover over those boxes, and those green boxes, and add them that way, whichever way is easier. Yeah. Now, just right almost where your mouse is, there's that little app pin looking thing just to the right of the plus sign. You almost can't even see it. Yeah.
Camera.
If you click on that, it's going to take you to that officer wherever he is on the boat.
You're talking about that right there?
Yeah.
There he is. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, and it'll do that with any one of those officers. And so if you assign him, this is an interesting thing. If you go to your map view in the top right-hand corner.
Globe?
Oh, yeah, the globe.
Okay. Got it.
And it'll show you your sight range. This is how far your watch crew, how far out they're basically, if you zoom in on your sub there. This is kind of how far they can see.
Okay, so that's their limit of clear visibility.
Yes, so if you assign him 2 sailors,
it increases that?
It will increase that and make them more vigilant. So when I get into, territory where I'm thinking, well, we're probably getting close to a convoy, or there may be airplanes in this area that are going to try to attack us, I will make sure that he is staffed with a couple of sailors to help him out.
Okay, so now I need to plug Go ahead.
That goes for any of these officers. So whatever job they're performing, they perform more efficiently the more sailors you give them.
Okay, so now I want to click on the little green box. There's 2 of them. That just gives me a pop-up that says assign sailors. There are none, so I need to click on the plus sign, correct?
Those 2 boxes are highlighted green, which means you have assigned him 2 sailors.
Oh, I have. So they're highlighted. That means that's it. Okay. I was thinking I see
Yeah.
little faces pop up there, but that's better. That makes more sense. So I do have 2 guys there. And I click on this.
Now you'll notice a couple of these guys down here, these officers have the very light green, and some of them will have like a light gray. That tells you how many sailors you can assign them at that time. So I mean, you've got one guy, he's asleep in his bunk.
So
he doesn't need any help
out.
sleeping.
He doesn't need any help sleeping, despite what he may say. Yeah. And the other guy's on the radio, so he really can't use more than one guy helping him.
Right. He'll decode messages faster. He'll receive and track messages faster if he's got an assistant. Your hydrophone operator, when you get to a point where you can get 7 officers on board the boat, this gets easier because you're spreading the workload out. But like if you add officers to your hydrophone operator, his listening distance increases, so they're all affected in some way. If you go up on the engine order telegraph,
if I go up on the
just
engine order telegraph right here, okay.
Yeah, up at the top right-hand corner of the screen, there's the all stop. We don't want to click that, but just to the left of all stop, there's the alarm. So if you click alarm, it's going to put the crew into that alarm mode.
Okay. Should I do that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll show you some things on there.
Okay.
Alarm. Take your positions.
Everybody to battle stations. Even the engine telegraphs turned red. I love it. Okay.
So some of your icons have changed. Your commanding officer is still on watch. Your radio guy is still on the radio. But I guess he's one of your engineers there in the center. He's got that gear with the magnifying glass.
Okay.
It means he's on damage control.
Okay.
So if you hit his little app pin and his camera pin, it'll zoom in on him specifically.
Okay.
Wherever he is on the boat.
Looks like he's in the control room.
Yep. So that's where he will be. But if you add sailors to him, it'll get a couple of sailors, and what they will do is they will patrol up and down the compartments of the boat, checking it for damage.
Okay.
So like if you just attacked a convoy and now the destroyers are on the hunt and you're getting pinged, you definitely want to have your alarm on, and you want to have these guys roaming around. See, there he is. He's standing there in the torpedo compartment with that clipboard. And there's probably another one in there in the galley there, and they'll go from compartment to compartment and basically inspect. Yeah. So what that does is if you take damage, they're able to respond to it faster this way. Another advantage to being in the alarm mode is your crew, no matter how tired they get, they will stay on duty.
So you don't have to worry about them coming off duty when you need them.
Yeah, until you turn the alarm off, which to turn it off, you just go up there and hit alarm again.
Now what's the downside of keeping them on alert status? They eventually get fatigued?
Yeah, they'll eventually get fatigued. They won't leave their station fatigued, but if you let them get too fatigued, what's going to end up happening when you come out of alarm mode, they're going to need a very long time to rest and recuperate. So they'll climb into their rack and just kind of nod off for a whole day.
Right.
And you'll potentially be without one of your officers that you might need for a while. So it's anyway, that's kind of how the alarm mode works. So we'll disable that.
Okay, let me find let me get out of here. Scroll. This is the alarm mode. Turn it off by clicking it.
Yeah, on the engine order telegraph, just turn it off by clicking the.
Click it again, huh? Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that was the indicator it was on. It was right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, everything's so.
And if you've got, yeah, it's okay. If you've got sailors that were assigned to that guy, for example, now they're grayed out on him, and you'll need to release them from duty because they don't have anything to assist him with.
Okay, so that's him. So hit the minus sign.
Yep.
Here we go. Perfect. All right, now let's look up here. This is just indication only. Battery capacity, is that correct? Fuel capacity is the indication.
Yep, so you...
Air quality.
Yep.
And discipline. These are nothing that I can do anything about.
Well, the faster you run your engines, obviously you're going to run out of fuel or battery, depending on if you're running surfaced or submerged faster. Discipline is mainly going to be impacted by, whether you're under attack or under an alarm mode for a long period of time.
Okay, so then I have my engine telegraph. I have my depth meter. Does that also control diving and surfacing?
Yes.
And I have icons for surface the ship, decks awash, periscope.
So there's a
crash dive.
There's a lot you can do here. So you can select your depth just, a la Silent Hunter 2 or 3, just by clicking a depth you want to go to, and it'll dive right down to it. Okay. Or you can order them to periscope depth or to crash dive, or to now when you hit crash dive, it accounts for the depth of the sea there. So it'll dive down to 150 meters if you've got, if you're in deep water. But if you're only 80 meters deep, it won't go deeper than that in crash dive. So we don't have, like, we've trained Bernard out of the situation. We're not going to go diving into the seafloor.
That's good.
The hydrophone check. Yep. Hydrophone check just dives you down, stops the engines, does a hydrophone check for like 30 minutes, and then comes back up.
Okay, now I've kind of detoured. Whoa. Let me get back to where I was here. I've detoured slightly. I'm looking at my Echo Ranger. Now it's got a gear icon to it. I would assume if I clicked it, that would do something. And when I click it, I get a little indication pointing down. Do I have any information? Have I done a sounding now?
Nope. So you'll want to right click that.
Uh-huh.
And
okay.
The way you're doing it right now is your captain's going to go over there and run it, and it'll tell you what the depth is.
And it tells me at the bottom left side of the screen?
It should tell you right over the echolot.
Okay.
So he'll ping shallow there, and then it'll tell you.
35 meters, right?
Yep.
Okay. Does it keep that information on this left side, or Is there like a message window that you can scroll up and down and see what the last messages are?
In a way, but I'll tell you, I don't get a lot of use out of that Echolot because here's why. If you go to your map view, anywhere you hover your mouse icon, it's going to tell you the depth of the water there.
Okay, let's see here.
In the top right-hand corner, it gives you, you've got 4 hours at sea. It's a 19-kilometer-per-hour wind.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
So the depth right here is about 35 meters, just like the Echo Ranger showed me.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Now, this is the one you're saying this will basically set you up for listening. Kind of a shortcut for all the things that need to be done.
Yeah, you don't have to go through all the rigmarole. You can just click that, and the crew will do automatically what they need to do to give you a sound check.
I like that. Okay, so there is my depth meter. What is this one here? My rudder. So this is my compass. No, this is my rudder. Why has it got a left rudder on it?
Yep,
Is it
and
turn?
yeah, you're coming up on a waypoint there.
I see.
And it'll vary, of course, with the current and everything, surface waves and whatnot.
Okay, and then the map that allows me to make course changes. Is there like a compass rose you can click on and set course changes that you know of?
So that's one of the big complaints currently is there is not compass navigation. There is a compass navigation mod which works perfectly, and it just what it'll allow you to do is basically, I think it switches that rudder steering indicator between the rudder mode and compass mode.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll have to check that out then, definitely. What is this telling me? Coordinates, depth, wind speed, hours at sea. Okay. All right, so then I think I've got a feel for some of this. This is a lot better than the last time. What's this little anchor telling me here? A port for resupply, no U-boat flotillas. Okay, cool. All right, so unless you have any other things you want to point out, I'm going to zoom on over to my patrol area.
Yeah, let's go see if we can find somebody to sink.
Yeah. Okay, it's saving. So it does save the game, and it gives me a radio message. Oh no, not France. I didn't want to go against France again. Where am I going to get my cheese? Self-defense is allowed, but we can't attack them. Okay, well, that's cool.
Now, it seems to me that the game recognizes certain prize rules because, obviously you don't want to sink a neutral ship, but I think the prize regulation said that if it was a neutral ship sailing in convoy with, and it was clearly engaged in belligerent activities, so I've sank neutral ships that were armed and in neutral convoy, or in enemy convoys, and it did not take any points off for the sinking. Whereas if that ship had been sailing by itself, it would have dinged me.
If it's in a convoy with belligerents, I can understand why you could be forgiven that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a radio message telling me in this area they said there's a tiny group. That means a few ships.
Yeah, so U1165, if you go to your mail icon over there, he's probably sent you a radio message saying that he's spotted some ships. So it's kind of like, you get the old convoy reports, or it may be a single merchant.
Okay. So...
And you don't have to respond to these. It's
Right.
just... but they are accurate. You can intercept... If they report a ship there, it's not just for... it's not just for immersion. There's actually a ship there. So how do we get our budget points is one question that will come up, and sinking ships obviously get you a certain amount of budget. Reporting sightings gets you a certain amount of budget. So like when you reach your patrol area, just to the left of the engine order telegraph, it's going to give you the option to report to BDU that you have reached your assigned area, and that's going to allow you to, I think it's 350. So you'll click on where it says patrol sector reached, Your
Yeah.
radio man will send that message, and it gave you $350 for taking it.
Okay. Remind me again where my points are, where I can see them.
Right above where your mouse is, you got 5,901
I see
budget,
it now.
and
I see it. Okay.
you don't have the greatest reputation in the Kriegsmarine yet.
That's all right. I'm just getting started. I haven't sunk anything yet. All right. So now this consists of me, just like in the Silent Hunter game and a career game, basically you just lock the time compression on the max and you wait for something to pop up. And you get
Yep,
slow
and you can do that. Yeah, you can do that on the surface. You can do periodic sound checks. You can rely on some of the reports from other boats to come in, and usually they'll send you a report they're not able to catch them or they're out of torpedoes. And, it's just kind of low-hanging fruit, really.
Let's see here. What's the, oh, turn it off. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, now let me try to practice this a little bit. Not that. This, I want to do a sound check
50 meters.
in real time because I really like watching this stuff. It never gets old, brother. They all went down below except the captain. He's still waiting. And now he's going down below. I think that's all of them. Oh, there's one more guy.
Yeah, they just wait for the ladder to get clear.
That's awesome. It's so much better than if they just all pop, disappear, you know? Every little thing like this adds up.
Switch
Oh,
to
there we go.
electric hose.
Now I can see the boat under the water. That's beautiful. So now we're going to go to 50 meters, obviously, and they'll do a sound check. And will the, do I need to click on the sonar man to get a feedback, or would he report to me?
He'll report it, and the best way to see his report is in the map view.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, a good management tip on your boat is the tab key. I haven't mentioned that yet, but if you press and hold tab, it's going to bring up a whole host of things that you can do from this little tab screen quickly. So like on your left, your gyro compass is highlighted green.
Yeah.
That means it's on and it's running. So any of those devices make noise, right? So
Okay.
your gyroscopic compass is making noise right now. So if you turn it off, it's going to be easier for you to get lost over time.
Exactly.
So you want to be running with it on pretty much all the time. But if you're in a situation where you're being hunted, that's just one more thing for the enemy to pick up on their hydrophone. So we'll turn that off. For your lighting at night, if this is kind of cool, if you're in first person perspective, you turn your red lighting on, it will actually adjust the gamma of your monitor so you can see better in the dark.
I love that.
The blue lighting is basically silent running. It'll reduce the oxygen consumption of the crew, prolong the air aboard the boat, and it reduces the sound signature of your sub. And in your under your orders, your dive planes are currently set to electric. I mean, if you're really taking a pounding down deep in the water and the depth charges are coming, you can switch those from electric to manual, so
Yeah.
it'll shut down the electro-hydraulic drive for the dive planes, so it's one less thing for them to be able to hear you.
Now let me make sure I understand correctly. The lighting, 3 options for lighting: normal, red, and blue. Switching to blue lighting also shifts the combat mode into silent running.
That's correct. So it reduces the crew noise there by 75%, and your oxygen usage reduces by 15.
Okay, so it's not just to change the lighting, it also alters the game. It's like me ordering silent running. And then the red lighting will actually change the screens for me. Oh, I love that. I can't
Yeah,
wait
it'll
to do
actually,
this at night.
yeah, it'll brighten or darken up the screen. And at night, your AI characters, your non-player characters can see further at night.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful.
So there's a mod where it'll automatically switch between red and white depending on if it's day or night. I use that mod because I just don't like going in there and switching to red because we go through days and nights so fast on time compression.
Got you. Now these are all options that this officer can perform. He can perform some maintenance, 3 targets, meaning he has 3 things he can do, which look like they're torpedoes.
Yep, he can maintain or preheat those torpedoes prior to an engagement, so it reduces the odds of having a dud.
Yeah.
Man,
this is
you can
so
send him to
in-depth.
rest. Yep. If you go to improve depth keeping, it will actually, and only an engineer rated officer can do that. So if you go to improve depth keeping, he'll actually manage the helmsman or the planesman, and their depth will be, their control of their depth will be tighter.
Okay.
You know, they won't wander around so much as far as depth goes.
All right. So that's the tab key. Normal lighting, red lighting, and blue lighting. And then alarm is battle stations. That puts everybody on alert on their stations.
Yes, and when they sight or detect an enemy, it will automatically alarm.
What is stop direct orders?
That's new in this last release, and I have not messed with that. Maybe if you hover over it, it'll tell you. It doesn't appear to.
I'm hovering now. Oh. Okay, now let me see. Down at the bottom, I've got 3 globes. Full map, the world situation in 1. Then I've got the world map again, and tactical map. Let's take a look at the tactical map. What am I looking at here? Scrolling back. Okay, let me do it again. So the tactical map. There's the world
And
map.
these are just going to be the various levels of zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, which of course you can mouse wheel in and out
Okay.
for the same effect. I find that it's easier to use the map wheel.
Center it for me. Let's see, center
No, on the
view.
top right-hand corner under menu, you'll click center view. It'll
Yes,
come
sir.
down to your ship.
Okay. You're an excellent teacher, John. All right. Now, I did see a little dude popping up here. Was he telling me my sound checks?
It doesn't appear there's anything that's been detected.
Let's see.
Because it would show up on the map. So,
Okay.
sounds like you've got an empty C right now.
Okay, let me see if this guy pops up again. Now these menus are not hideable or any of that stuff right there. They're fixed in this position for me.
So if you wanted to take like screenshots or video, if
Yeah.
you press the U key, it'll hide this entire user interface from
Very cool.
everybody.
Very cool. I hope
Just
I
to
don't
bring
forget
it
that.
back.
I accidentally hit the
Yeah.
U key and then my game's broke. Somebody fix it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, U key will hide all that. The N key will put you into camera free mode, where you can kind of free camera around all over the place.
Let's see. I'm surfacing the boat. Telegraph again. Surface the ship. Rudder. This. Budget. This is my map tools over here. This is telling me my oxygen level. And once I surface. Okay, so I'm on surface now. Let's see. Just about.
What you can do is you can click that map pin for any of your officers, and it'll zoom in on it and put it on that external camera view.
Skipper?
Like that.
I'm a little lagged, but
Yeah, I know. It's coming. It's coming.
yeah. So if you mouse wheel out, it'll close the compartment view off, and
I'm back to normal.
you can watch the boat submerge and surface.
Okay, now, what do I do to recharge my batteries, recharge my air? Is that stuff I need to get the crew to do for me?
All right, so that's a good question. So to recharge the batteries, you've got some options. I had to be surfaced and making repairs the other day, so one of the ways you can recharge your batteries is go to your engine order telegraph, and the Laden selection, I think is how you say that. It'll disengage the diesels from the prop shafts, and it'll run them both at flank, and it'll stop the ship. It'll stop the boat and charge the battery in one spot. Or if you want to continue to run on the surface, all you have to do is switch to your diesel engines by clicking on the diesel motor.
Okay.
But it appears that's already been done. So
Okay.
you're running on diesels now. The batteries are charging. To replenish air, if you hold the tab key, you
Yeah.
can do this so many different ways. So if you hold the tab key, you can just go over to your devices and turn on the diesel compressor or the electric compressor or both. If you run both, it'll recharge your air flasks faster.
Okay, now I have the tab key pulled up, and I see electric compressor. It's got an X. Diesel compressor has an X.
Yep. So it's currently off. So it's put those two sailors icons. So they're presently walking across the ship to go
Oh, it's not
manually turn those on.
instantaneous. You're right. You're right. Oh,
Right,
that's
yeah.
amazing. So I need to keep my shirt on, not to get in too big a hurry. Ventilation. So I click that, and I see a
Yep.
sailor next to it, and there it is. Okay, so I see my
Now the
oxygen.
ventilation. Yeah, you're ventilating the boat just by being on the surface. So what the ventilation is doing, if you can zoom in with your with your camera there on the compartment view for the diesel engines, just go to the diesel compartment. Give me a second to get caught up.
Right.
All right, and you see that kind of gear? It's showing you a click spot just forward of the diesel near the ceiling.
Yep.
That's your
right.
ventilator.
Okay.
Yeah. What you need to do with that is right now it's disabled and it's not doing anything, but if you go to the galley and you click on your little storage icon in the galley, you can actually put a potassium absorber in there. And while you are submerged, you can turn that on and it will act as an air scrubber. So if you click on down there, that little box on the bottom.
I got you. All right, so I got a storage room, and I got Kurt Hoffman in his bag.
So you want to take 3 of those potassium sheets. They look like little steel
that's-
plates.
Drag them over to
If you
what?
click on the ventilation, on the far right, click on ventilation,
Yeah, I see
and
it.
then drag them into the blank spot.
Okay.
And it'll ask you how many. I caution people against putting all 20 in there because if you leave your ventilator on and forget about it, it's going to consume all 20 of them. So I usually go in there and just slide that slider to like 2 or 3,
So
just
you'll have
enough to
some
get
when
my
you need
oxygen back up. Yeah, that way if I forget and leave it on, I've only lost 3 potassium absorbers. But you only have to use this now if you're trapped in deep water by a prolonged depth charging and your air's running out and surfacing is not an option. And you've put this thing on the seabed and you're trying to get away from these destroyers, you see what I'm saying? You can
Yep.
put that in there and it'll air scrub the boat.
Gotcha. Okay, so now I'm exiting this screen, right? Inventory screen. Okay. So they really could let you shoot the cook, huh? That's fun.
Yeah, I mean for like burning scrambled eggs. Now you'll find guys on duty that are like taking a nap in the corner of the diesel room or whatever, and you can levy out discipline. And one of the disciplines is to clean the head, and he will physically go in there and get down on his hands and knees and scrub the toilet.
Wow. All right. I am getting a good feel for this game like I never had before. So now I really want to go ahead and move into the engagement phase and get a feel for that. Oh, there's a group behind me now. Should I turn around? Steamer in Naval Square AN 493, 13 knots, 176, 2 duds, 1 miss, couldn't continue attack. Ah, you poor bastards. Maybe I can.
So if you just hit the X, it'll get you out of this message. You don't have to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll do it next time.
Because if you hit leave station, that guy's going to leave the station.
Okay, so
It's
X
kind
next
of
time.
misleading.
Or confirm. Okay, do I want to go
Yeah, or
move
confirm.
course to him?
If you click on that, if you right click on that, it should set an intercept course automatically.
Beautiful. All right, all ahead flank. Let me see here. What do we got here? Habafot, Gurusfot, Obfot. I'm assuming that's
Faster!
flank.
So you've only got to see how those are grayed out. You've only got half a head. You've only got a head standard basically. So if you pull up your tab key
Yep.
and send one of your engineers to the diesel room, manage the diesel engine.
Okay, let me see here. One of my engineers, manage diesel engines. Click it and wait.
Yep, and he'll run back there. And it will open up the higher speed. If you give him a sailor to assist, it will open up flank speed. Now, that's a little unrealistic in my opinion. Flank speed's always going to be available,
Sure.
like no matter who you've got manning the thing. But
I guess that's their way of representing that if you're running the diesels wide open, you need more people in there to check stuff to make sure you don't wreck them.
yeah, probably.
All right.
So if you go down to your diesel guy and add a sailor to his work party, you can go considerably faster.
Okay, you're right.
Faster, faster.
Now we're going faster, faster. I'm going to just zoom right over there. It'll stop me in time for time compression. Will automatically stop. I won't be right on top of somebody, right?
You have that danger, yeah, and it didn't
Does it
intercept.
really happen?
So, yeah, you can hit the space bar once you start feeling like you're getting close, but we've missed them.
50 meters.
Oh, we have? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down and
Switch
listen.
to electric motors.
Skipper, I've detected a ship.
See, there he is. He popped up. Where'd he go? Come back. What did he tell me? Let's see. Reporting something. You heard propellers at a
Yeah,
distance.
He's got propeller noise to the north, so I think they were northbound. So if you head for him, you're gonna go right up their tail.
Set a course to these coordinates.
Okay, let's see
Yes, sir.
here. Surface the
Load
boat.
tanks.
John, you know that feeling you get when you start figuring out how things work and you're starting to, the actual working of the game is behind you and you're starting to experience the game? That is a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, that's when the enjoyment really starts, because it's, anytime you jump into a new game, it's kind of a pain in the rear to learn it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's vastly different from what you're used to in a sub-sim.
Switch to new
And
switches.
U-boat is certainly no exception.
Tiny
But
group.
once you start, if you do a couple of sailings and you kind of figure out the nuance of the user interface.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so now we've got something happening here. First thing I want to do is, let's see if I can go on.
It's going to be disappointing if that's another U-boat.
I was thinking. Let's see here. Here we go. All right, Captain.
So can I make
go
a
to the map.
suggestion?
Yes, sir.
If you
I'm
get
sleeping.
your commanding officer, if you press the tab key,
Tab key. Yep.
send him on watch. It will increase your sight range, and you'll probably spot that ship.
Okay, get up, Neil, you lazy bastard.
Put him on observation. Yeah.
There he goes. You can see that they put a lot of care into this. There's so many shortcuts they could have taken. Yeah, I've got to see how to do this again. This is what he sees here, right? Now I need to move this. Looks like. Is there a zoom key? What's the zoom key? Right click?
Yeah, right mouse click. So if you zoom in on that ship, you can get an idea of if it looks like it might be heading south. Yeah.
Okay, so
We're at sunset, so it's daylight, so he's going to see you if you get too close.
Okay, so I need to
So
get...
we'll go to and that's a Norwegian steamer, but I guess it doesn't matter. We can still sink it. But if you go to your map view, you can kind of, a la Silent Hunter 3, plan your approach that way.
Okay. Back,
If that makes sense.
Yep. So I can set up my, let's see here, shift key. No. How do you get rid of that waypoint?
Just use your right click to click anywhere to set a new waypoint.
Set a course to
Not
these
with
coordinates.
shift.
Oh. There we go.
Change course.
Perfect. So now we're going to start spinning the boat around. Now, if he sees me, will he try to evade?
Being a neutral, I don't think he will.
Okay.
He might report your position to the Royal Navy.
Oh, that's not very nice of him. No, I have to see
No.
for sure. Now, why is this black? Because it's nighttime?
Yes, so the map
Getting close,
will, yeah, it's getting close to dark. If you hold your tab key and switch to red light, I bet that on the while you're on the map view, I think you'll see your sight range increase, but it's still kind of light out. See, you can get 150 budget for reporting that ship sighting to BDU.
Okay, did I report it yet?
If you click on where it says ship spotted, click to send a report up there by the telegraph.
There we go.
A lot of these neutrals, you can actually send a boarding party and inspect their cargo hold and see what they're carrying. You know, for example, if this was a neutral, but he's full of ammunition.
Yeah. He's legal game.
Yep, war's over for those guys. You even have options then. You can send all your guys back to the sub and torpedo them, deck gun them. If one of your boarding party has explosives capability, you can just set scuttling charges and save yourself the ammunition. I think he might be zigzagging.
That is something we've never seen, is it?
Yeah, that's completely new to a sub-sim. Like, that's unheard of.
That's something I always read about in the books. But let's see here. Fastest way to move the scope around is the arrow keys. The WASD.
WASD, yep. And if you hold shift, it will move quicker.
Yeah, there we go.
At the top of this is your UZO, obviously, but at the top you've got the center arrows icon, and that will automatically center the view on north.
Bring it back
We're on
north. Okay, what's the circles for color filter?
Yep.
Wow.
So you can put a red filter for night, yeah. So this guy's probably like on a 50 or 60 degree bearing.
Why does it keep doing that?
What is it doing?
It's asking if I want to invoke the sticky
Oh,
keys.
sticky keys. Yeah, if you tap shift or if you hold it for longer than 5 seconds, I think Windows thinks that you're trying to, yeah.
I think I've lost him. Has he evaded me?
He might be, I think he's further even past there, maybe about 90 or 100.
Oh,
He's
you're
probably
right,
behind.
You're right.
There.
You're right.
He's hiding behind that radio mast.
Yeah, almost. Very cool. So he's coming on. So now let's see here. Escape key gets me out of all that. And bring us to Periscope.
Yeah, or you can mouse wheel back. Just mouse wheel back out of it. There you go.
All right, I'm going to Periscope depth. And gotta find out where I am. There I am on the map. I'm gonna go ahead and change course.
Set a course to these
No point
coordinates.
in trying to set up a forward course. Let me change my speed to flying fart.
We're slowing down.
We're slowing down.
Now your watch officer will automatically man the attack scope.
Switch to
Okay.
electric motors.
Electric engines.
This looks like it's going to be a long shot.
Oh, I'm just gonna sit and wait for him to get closer. I'll speed it up a little bit. There we go. Now, this is where I would normally figure this out the hard way, but let's see here. What is he doing? He's looking through the periscope. That's what I want him to do. Well, that's a cool looking periscope too. This guy should be in front of me somewhere, pretty close. There he is. Lower it down. All right, John. There's my Papenburg gauge. What is this? What is this? Identification book. Let's see my zoom. Okay, so now if I want to, he's a freighter, and that's him right there. Nope, nope, that's not him. So this gives me a different page each time. Uh-oh, I got into the warships. How did I do that? What is
At the
this?
top there,
Yeah.
if you see that little periscope icon at the top of the screen.
Yeah, yeah, I see it. View mode.
Yeah, that's your view mode. I use the widest angle mode that's at the bottom 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see your point.
So you'll set that to freighter on your recognition manual, and
Okay.
then but just put the crosshairs on the center of your target ship
Yeah.
and click to lock it, just old school style.
Okay, I'm working on it.
You get that?
Click to lock, click left mouse button. Or E
Yep.
key.
And you almost have to have the crosshairs like on right, like snipered on him. There you go.
I'm working on it.
You can press and hold the E key for a second.
Okay, I'm doing that now.
Lower your scope a little.
Lower it.
Yeah, I mean the aiming point with the S key.
Okay, got it.
That might make it easier to lock. Like you almost have to have the crosshairs on him.
Okay, I think I see it. Got the crosshair on him now. Hitting the E key or holding it down, both. Let's see here.
And then click on the ship with your mouse button.
Click on the ship with my mouse button. Oh, that did it. Click on the ship with my mouse button did it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's that part. Now range. This is what I need to use to get range. Where is it? Mass height 21.7. So that
I'm still
gives me-
catching up.
Yeah.
There we go. So velocity is usually what we're going to get first.
Okay.
You got it on the manual down there. We're going to recognize the ship. So the little arrows bottom left and right. Let's go right because that's not the ship we're looking at.
Okay. I'm moving the arrows.
If you
left
want to
and right.
raise your periscope a little, that might.
Lots of
So we can't get a velocity. Yeah, we can't get a velocity until we identify the ship. So that's not the ship. That's not the Empire Bell. So we're gonna have to go right arrow.
Okay, we're lagging. I'm going through all. I'm watching YouTube, so I see I'm on Liberty ship now. So now, which way do I want to go?
We would just want to match up the silhouette to what we're looking at. So he's got the center island, single stack, fore and aft crane towers, and then the two smaller towers on the rear. So whatever silhouette that matches up to.
Okay, so now I've gotten into War class, Q class. Obviously, I'm having trouble with this somehow. Corvette, destroyer, cruiser, battleship, fast attack, submarine, fishing boat, and freighter. Now I'm in freighter, so I use the bottom right and left arrow keys with the recognize in the middle. I use those to go between different freighters.
Yes, so once you've selected freighter from the top menu, you'll use your small arrows at the bottom there to cycle through each individual silhouette.
Okay.
And if you go too far, it'll take you into the next class of vessel. But what you can do here is if you press the space bar, that'll pause the game. So we're not letting this guy swim by while we're trying to figure this out. So if you just press the space bar,
Got it.
that'll pause it. So it's not the Empire Bell, it's not the Empire Explorer, it's the Empire Tower class, it looks like to me.
This one. Okay.
So if you click recognize,
Got it.
you're now you can start collecting target data. So the way that this target data is going to work, if you close your recognition manual, and we will hit the little stopwatch for velocity.
Okay.
All you're going to do is put the crosshairs of the periscope ahead of the ship.
Yeah.
Bow touches it, you're going to start your little stopwatch. Of course, you'll have to be on pause to do all that, but and you're going to stop the watch and click set when the stern of the ship passes the reticle.
Okay, so I've got it positioned to the front. I'll unpause it and click start and just hold it still. And when it gets to the end, I'll click set.
Yep.
And away we go. And I worked so hard to lock it. Okay, it says stop is the option, so that's what I'll do is stop, right?
When the stern gets to that crosshair, you'll stop it, and then that'll switch to a set.
Ah, got it.
So it's start, stop, set.
Okay, 13 kilometers per hour. Now the next point is course, right?
Yep, so you've got a couple of options with course. I always just use the angle on bow, which right now you're at about 85
Yep.
left.
Yep. So then
But
you just plug that in yourself. There's, let's see.
Yeah, if you
left.
yeah, if you click the little course icon, you've got a couple of ways to put angle on bow in. There's a little slider at the top of the tool that comes up. You can change it to course mode or angle on bow mode.
Okay.
Angle on bow mode is what we want.
Is that what I'm in, or now I'm on?
No, that's on
bow.
relative course.
Okay, now I'm
so
got red and green showing.
yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and set that. And now my last thing is range.
Yep, so your distance is just this typical statometer.
Okay.
Just put the ghost on the top of the mast, and the collected data will go to 100%, and we're ready to fire, and there's a process even for that.
Okay, Q and E. Q and, oh wow, this is awesome. Okay, first of all, I need to move my scope up just a little bit. There we go. Now, I'm going to unzoom this dog. And now I want this bottom of the ship to be even with the tallest mast, about right there.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, and then set.
And there is a torpedo data computer mod that is just like what we're used to seeing in the Silent Hunter series, that I find is super handy for players who are used to that.
Yeah.
You can use that instead of this default, vanilla setup. So
but
we'll
it does
set
the same
range.
functionality?
Yes. It'll result in the same hit. So the torpedo icon, the big torpedo icon there to the right of your distance distance.
Yeah.
If you click that, it's going to open up your options as far as what tube you're going to send, what speed setting, and I think we've got all type 2s, so we only get one.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Stern torpedo, no go. Okay, tube 1, tube 2, tube 3, tube 4. So do I click on a tube to select it?
Yep, you'll click it, it'll close the hatch, flood the tube. Preferably you'll choose one of the red torpedoes. That means it's preheated and reduces the odds of a dud.
Yes, sir.
If the torpedo is grayed out, then that's going to mean that it's not a warmed up weapon. So like tube 1, we'll select. You can then select the depth of the runner. You can select its speed. I usually go with the highest speed.
Okay.
And if you select more than one torpedo, you can select your dispersion angle of your spread. So we'll just send him one. Probably about a 2-meter depth is going to be ideal for a ship like that. I think he's got a pretty steep draft, though.
Yeah, about 8 something. Okay, so we're ready to go. I'm sorry, Norway, but this is just how it has to be, my friend. So unpause the game.
So we'll unpause, and they will flood that tube there. And when the tube is flooded, the fire button will become clickable.
Okay, I see the little blue icon.
Fire!
Hey, man, that is awesome. How do I reload?
One of your engineers will run up there and do it for you.
Do I have to tell him to do it, or he does it automatically?
He should do it automatically, and if you assign sailors to him, he'll load it faster.
All right, let's see if I can figure out how to do that real quick. Nope.
So if you mouse wheel out of this back to your compartment view.
Yeah.
Now that'll leave the position, that icon down there in the bottom right. So you have to close the
torpedoes.
Torpedo
Gotcha.
loadout.
Gotcha. So now I'm in the torpedo bow room. I just closed out the torpedo panel. It'll take a second to catch up. Now, one of these guys down.
So it looks like your engineer's in bed. So what you're going to have to do is hit the tab key and bring your engineer up and tell him to reload tube 1.
Okay.
I guess he was sleepy in the middle of the attack. Of course, you're not an alarm because that's a neutral. They're not planning on attacking this. But you've gone rogue
Yeah.
You're gonna draw Norway into this thing early.
Yeah. Well, I like to get my name in the history books.
Yeah, for sure.
Did I hit something?
So if you go to perform maintenance, 3 targets, or actually better way to do this is if you just select that engineer officer from the icons down at the bottom,
Yeah.
just click on him,
Yeah.
and then you can go all the way to the bow.
Okay. Working on it.
30 seconds.
And you can do all this paused.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's do that pause then, because I don't want to miss the glory of sinking my first target. All right. So I click on nod.
Yep. So you're gonna zoom into compartment view,
I'm in the compartment view now.
all the way to the forward torpedo room.
I'm in the forward torpedo
You're-
room.
So go forward as far as you can go to your tubes, and there will be a click point there.
It says torpedo tubes loadout.
Nice, sir.
Okay.
Yep. And just drag a torpedo in there, and he will go and handle it.
Okay. Is your order to carry this to the tube? It is.
Move! Come on, quickly!
Oh yeah. He's talking to the people now. Let's see if I can add a couple dudes. All right. I click the plus sign. Oh, he's on the way. That's what that icon, the little green walking guy icon is.
Yeah, he's headed for the target. You've assigned him.
Oh, I'm paused too, so nothing's happening when I'm paused.
Yeah,
All right,
so you'll
what's
have
the
to
best way to
you'll
watch
have to-
my torpedo impact? Through the periscope?
through the periscope, which your officer is there, or you can go to the map view and use your external camera, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Let's see if I
If
can
you go to
find
the map view, we'll know how.
how accurate my shot is.
Yeah, we'll know how accurate it is, which I think is probably pretty accurate.
Okay, I've done screwed up and lost my periscope. Okay, now I need to look until I can find this guy. And he's probably up close to
Yeah, it looks like you're.
close to 0 somewhere. Should be in this ballpark. There he is.
Yeah, you.
That damn sticky key. I'm going to go in and nuke that later. Okay,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
we can go to the map view, which is let's see. Okay, from here I click here to go out, and I can scroll out here, go to the map view, and then how do you see your torpedo? Oh shoot! Look at there. That's the torpedo, right?
Yeah, so if you click on the torpedo in the bottom left-hand corner, there should be a camera icon, and it'll focus on that torpedo. Or you can click on the target ship, which you're about to get a direct hit nearly.
Yeah.
Or you can click on the target ship and use that camera icon. It'll focus on that ship. Or you can even, from the map view, zoom way in and do like a God's eye view.
All right. So you ready, John?
Let's see if we did it.
It's a hit!
It is a
The
hit.
deck is on fire! Major
Awesome.
hull
Sweet.
damage!
Let's see. This gets me out of this view. That scrolls me back. This will surface the boat.
Blow the tanks!
This will. I'm going slow. All right. Surfacing. Surfacing. Look at there. Low air reserves. Dang. It's 96%. I don't call that low.
No, and it gives you that. I think it's more of a translation issue, but it gives you that every time you use compressed air
Yeah, 'cause
past
I'm
like
surfacing. Yeah.
90 feet. Yeah.
All right, so I want to get into my captain eyeball. He's on the bridge. Let's see, manual mode. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, we need to go this way. Nope, this way.
Now you can actually approach those lifeboats. So in this case, oops, we sank a neutral. You can actually go over to those lifeboats and
Yeah.
disperse food to the survivors,
Let's try to do that.
Or-
Let's see.
or take them on board, assuming anybody lived through that glorious hit.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's see. Zoom out, zoom out. What are these telling me? I can't use time compression because I'm too close to something. Okay, so
Change course.
I'm going to go straight to this guy.
Faster! Faster!
I'm going to move on over there real quick. And now I'm going to go back to my captain. Oh, wow. I think we sank him. There's nothing left. What is that? Lifeboats?
Lifeboats, probably people in them. Women and children.
No, it's empty. Nobody got out. Just the lifeboats survived. Unless they're ducking because they're afraid I'm going to machine gun them.
Yeah, if
Whoa.
I don't see anybody in them. Yep, they're empty.
I have a hard time getting used to getting out. Okay, let's see. Press Alt to display UI. That's what I want. There we go. Nope, still not there. Press Tab to open the match. Okay, so when I'm in a view like this, what's the easiest way to get to where I can use my mouse to click on stuff instead of being in
So like when you're in the UZO view, when you're in the first person view like you were, if you click that exit button on the bottom right, that removes the officer from that device.
But I can't.
So what I do is,
go ahead.
What I do is I just mouse wheel back.
Oh, okay.
Repeatedly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta get used to
I
that.
just mouse wheel back. That is one of the awkward things that takes a minute to get used to.
Okay, I'll get it. All right. Now, what was I doing? I forgot. Oh, I need to do this. Send a message for some points. And there are 3 interactions nearby. I want to see what those are. And then we'll see if we can find any lifeboats if they're still there. Because I'm moving pretty fast, so I might have left them behind. Lifeboat, we're moving too fast, we're moving too fast. Okay, so I'm slowing down. In fact, okay, interact with lifeboat. Look at there, John. We're not taking them on board, though. We'll give them a sausage. Let's see, I'm going to give them...
If you take them on board, like if you capture, like let's say you shoot an airplane down.
Yeah.
You can rescue the pilot from the dinghy. So he'll be a guest aboard, right? So when you get back to port, there's an option for you to turn him in as a prisoner of war, and you'll get budget and reputation, or one or the other or both, points for doing that.
Okay.
And they've only got one space to hold things. So that if it's an officer, like on a ship, so if the captain is aboard the life raft, you can take the captain or an engineer or whatever. That will offer you more points for taking him back to port as a prisoner versus just a regular sailor.
Right.
You have that option. I don't typically do that, but it's just one more guy I have to keep up with.
Can't make him do any work, make him clean the toilet?
Oh, there is a rescue mission, or there's a mission to recover an Enigma machine from a sunken U-boat. You have to send a diver down to it, and not to give away any spoilers, but assuming there are any survivors from any friendly boats that get sunk, you can rescue them. And while they're aboard, you can put them to work, but you can't put prisoners to work.
Okay, it's giving me a lot of interaction options. I can skip those if I want, or I can do them if I want, correct?
Yep, completely up to you.
Because I'm not going to get locked out of proceeding because of that. And is there any reason why I would send a diver to a wreck on the seafloor? In real life, probably they never did this, but in the game, does it make sense? Are you going to get something that, you think
you might go through all of the hoopla of sending a diver down, and he's like, okay, well, I discovered a crate that has 50 units of potatoes in it.
Okay.
The only thing that's going to do you any good is if you've been out at sea a long time and you're almost out of food.
All right, well,
so there's no real benefit.
I play the game. I usually play these games the way I read the books, and I do not remember Preen or Kretschmer or any of them sending divers down to get potatoes. So I would probably joyfully skip that part. But the interception, the TDC, I'm going to definitely look up that mod for the TDC.
Yeah, I've got 5 or 6 mods that I highly recommend, and the TDC mod is definitely one of them. Now, one of the annoying things that a lot of people have griped about on U-Boat is the engine order telegraph. Anytime you click on something, he's telling you faster, faster, or slower, slower, or whatever. But there's a mod to get rid of that. You just click on it and it goes faster.
Is that in the list that you sent me on Subsim?
It is.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I sent you that list. It's got that on there. There's the expanded radio. So, like, your radio officer can play radio stations, and there is a benefit to that. So, like, if you just really got, your rear end handed to you in a depth charging, but you made it, your morale might be low. So you can go on there and have your radio officer play music, and that will increase the rate at which morale recovers.
Okay.
But, copyright, etc., etc., there's only like a couple of songs that each radio station plays. So
Yeah.
with the radio mod, there's a bunch of music that gets added on there.
Of course, you have to keep in mind if you're recording this for YouTube that if you record any copyrighted songs, YouTube will pick it up and demonetize the video. So
They may very well do that. That's
yeah, I
right.
found that out the hard way. Our game Tipperary is definitely copyrighted. And
Yeah.
John Today, or however you pronounce that French Rena Ketty song, that one's copyrighted. There's no way around it. So
Gotta love it.
what else do you suggest we do? I mean, is there anything else that I need to know about? Am I set to start a career, continue the career, just going around sinking ships, coming back, resupplying?
Yeah, I
training
think
a
at
reputation?
this point you're pretty well set. Don't forget to recharge your air, because you're going to in for a rude awakening when you go to surface and you've only got
Okay.
10%
Let's
air
see
charge.
here. Perform maintenance. That's all torpedoes.
So if you hold the tab key, you'll have that option with your devices on the left-hand side of the screen.
Aye, sir. I'm going to fire up my electric compressor. I've got a guy next to it, so it means he's on the way.
And all of this stuff in your tab key, like turning on and off the pump or the compressors, you can do that in first-person view.
Okay, let's try that too. Let's see. I need to go to one of
Yeah,
these
just
guys
any one
here.
of your officers, and
There we go. Playing with the torpedoes now. Let's see here. How do I get them to turn around? There we go. Nope, not that way. This way. So this is me moving towards the stern of the boat, which is amazing. I love this. The guys that built this game, I take my hat off to them. This is almost completely novel way of attacking it. You know, you got the best of both worlds. You got the Silent Hunter style game, plus you have the RPG done well too. All right.
well,
diesel
yeah,
compressor.
and once you get the particulars of this play style out, it can be a bit much to swallow at first. But once you get the particulars of this style of play figured out, it's very engaging and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So if it says this station is unused, what is that telling me? That I need to put somebody there, or it's not used because I'm on the surface?
Let me catch up to where you are. I think you're at the electric
Yep.
motor.
Yep.
Yeah, so this device is disabled. Now, if you were to go to your engine telegraph and switch to electric, because you can run on your electric motors on the surface,
Right.
you can assign somebody to that, and I think the guy you've taken control of is an engineer.
Right.
So you could basically just click that click spot in first person and kind of turn it over to him as a non-player character at that point.
All right. Right-click to open action list. Press Alt to display UI. Press Tab to open management screen. Okay, so I know. There we go. Managing electric engines.
So if you hold the Alt key, it'll show you that option for the
There we
engine
go.
order telegraph.
You're right. So I need to switch to electric machining. And now this just became occupied by Daniel. So he's wanting to get in there really bad, so I'll move out of the way. Now if I click on it, what happens? Nothing happens there. Managing it. Station occupied by him. What's the 5 minus greater than 4 mean? Max gear. Oh, that's max gear. Any ideas about that?
There. So with the number of people that you have assigned there, it can go up Up to 5, but I think you're limited to the 4th speed of the engine, I think is what that means.
Okay.
So if you assign more sailors to him, you open up more speeds, just like the diesel. And the easiest way to do that is to zoom, roll that mouse wheel out and go to your compartment view.
Okay.
And that'll give you the user interface where you can add sailors to each individual officer.
Okay.
But a majority of the game is going to be played in either the map or in this segmented view, this compartmentalized view here. A majority of it will be played in one of those two views, unless you're targeting where you're looking through the UZO or the periscope, for example.
Yeah.
So your bottom row of officers, that guy in the pinkish red shirt, he's currently managing the diesels or the electric motor, and he's got one sailor assigned to assist him with that, which is really all you need because it's opened up all of the speed ranges on your engine order telegraph.
Yeah, all but the top one. Top speed's still grayed out, correct?
Yeah, but if you add one officer, it'll open it up.
Okay.
Or two.
Okay, now I'm watching. I'm on the pink shirt guy. I click on the plus sign, add sailor, and I have to wait a few seconds for somebody to catch up and get over there, right?
Well, here's another point. You only have so many available sailors on duty. So on the far right-hand side,
Yeah.
5 out of 5 of your sailors are currently assigned to other officers.
Oh, these guys here.
So
huh?
so you're going to have to take somebody away from one work detail to put on his. So what I'll point out is your radio officer has 2 sailors assigned to him, but only one can work because it's a 2-occupant station.
Yeah.
So that's why one of those little boxes is grayed out.
Okay, so my radio guy is Carl Heinz Schuster, expert, radio man, boarded. Let's see here. I'll go back to this guy right here. One's grayed out and one's green.
Yeah, so just remove the grayed out sailor and it'll free one up to go to your electric motor.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Back to electric motor guy. And it's not grayed out. And I click the plus sign, and I think that means he should have a guy there, right?
You can go give it to the electric motor guy.
Okay.
So you've got 4 out of 5 sailors performing a task, so you've got one free guy that you can give him. So there you go. Now, if you want to remove all of the sailors from a certain work detail, whatever, like if you want to take all of the sailors away from your watch officer, if you hover over your watch officer, there's that little no icon, the little crossbar icon. If you click that, it will release all sailors from duty under that officer.
Aha, I see it. So I just did that for my captain. What is this guy? Radio. This guy is torpedoes. I can release them by doing that. And then this guy here, I can give him one. There we go. Now I can give him one. Okay, so this is telling me 5 of 18 are on duty. Okay, so boarded and ready. What the heck does boarded and ready? What's the difference between boarded and ready? What is boarded?
Boarded is they're on board the ship. Now, so you're basically on your crew list. I haven't caught up to that view just yet.
Okay.
Here we are. All right, so this shows you all of your sailors who are aboard the ship. And what's interesting about this is you can see their personality. So right now, you don't know what the personality of any of your sailors are, because you're on your first patrol. You haven't been in a particularly stressful situation that it has either revealed them to be strong-willed or particularly brave or a coward. So if they're prone to cowardice, they'll have a panic attack while you're getting depth charge. You may have to knock them out. And it'll put that little coward icon where it's a question.
Yeah.
And so when you get back to port, you can release him from your crew, because you want the
You want
good
solid
sailors.
men. You don't want to be out to sea
Yeah.
with some guy's got weak knees.
Yep. So on your tasks along the top, you got task, schedule, and squads. I don't mess with the schedule and squads much at all. There's good YouTube tutorials on how to work those.
Okay.
But your tasks get to be pretty important. Basically, you have officer tasks and crew tasks. I don't want people on my observation periscope on the sailors. So I click the little sailor hat, and that will give me the list of tasks that the sailors will perform. So all you're doing is putting a number here, 10 being the highest priority, 0 being no priority at all. So you can go through each individual officer or each individual sailor, for example, and tell them what you want prioritized. So they're rating the observation scope as a 6. Well, I don't want to necessarily be surrounded by destroyers and have one of those Bernards looking around with their scope up.
Yeah.
So I usually 0 the scope out. And I will take the 6 from the periscope and rate it to 0 because I don't want them on it.
Right.
And I'll give that 6 to the ballast control valve.
Okay.
Now what that's going to do is it's going to put a sailor standing by at the ballast valves. That way when you order a crash dive, the response time is reduced.
Okay, now who do I want on the observation scope? An officer?
Nobody really. So you can change that. Yeah, 6s and I don't want really anybody on the observation scope. In fact, what I usually do is I'll assign in the compartment view, I'll put an officer on the observation scope and I'll give him the order to lower it, and it's like that just basically means nobody touch this. I don't want anybody on the observation scope because it can be spotted.
All right.
Yeah, so if you exit out of this, I'll show you how to do that in the compartment view.
All right.
And it can pretty much be any officer.
Coming up now.
And there's a lot you can do with the shifts. I mean, it's kind of neat, but I don't really get that in depth on it.
Okay, so I'm in the side view, and
So we're in the command room.
Yep.
You've got that sailor standing there with his arms crossed. And, you know, he kind of got sidelined with duty to stand there and make sure that valve doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you can get your watch officer, or I think it could be any of the officers, and you can put them on that observation scope there.
Okay. Is he an officer? He's a sailor, right?
Oh, he's just regular sailor.
So
Yep.
I need to take one of these guys. All right, not him. Not him. Basically, this guy here, right? Well, this guy's sleeping, so I can put him on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now how do I get him to go to the observation scope?
So go down to the bottom of the screen and click on him,
Yeah,
on his icon,
got it.
and then the eyeball on the observation scope, just tell him to just click on it and he'll man it.
Okay, so now he's got a little circle on the floor, and that's him. He's going to be coming over there to it, right? There he comes.
Yep, so he'll raise that scope. So now on the top left of the screen where it gives you your date and time,
Yes, sir.
there's going to be some icons for to keep that scope raised or to put that scope down. I strongly recommend putting that scope down and then assigning him to something else. So what's happened here is you've told the game logic that nobody needs to man this, and in the event that somebody does man it, it needs to be down. Because
Okay.
what'll happen is you're in the middle of stocking up on a convoy, you don't have any scopes up, you're listening on the hydrophones, and some idiot goes over there and raises your scope and reveals your position.
All right, so now I've clicked on that hide periscope button a couple times. He's still hanging on to
Yep,
it.
so if you zoom out, he will probably have it in the down position.
Oh, so he's just faking it then, looking busy.
Yeah, I guess. And in the lower left, you can put him to bed. and he'll go do something else and leave that scope.
This guy here, yeah. Okay, forward left, point. All right. Now, I did have some.
So the scope is down.
Yeah, scope's down. I did have some icons with some ships. What is that telling me?
That is telling you what your watch officer has in sight. So he sees the wreck of the ship you sunk, the 2 lifeboats.
Oh, that's what we saw? Okay.
Yeah. So that's just telling you what you have in visual range.
Okay. Fantastic.
And there's a lot of click spots. A lot of click spots on this boat. So like your flag even is a click spot. You can, if you get tired of looking at that thing, you can send somebody over there if you just hit the W key and it'll raise you to the deck in that compartment view.
Okay.
You can have a guy actually walk over there and take the flag off the pole.
Pump. Ventilation. That's the AA gun. How do you... There's no hotspot for the flag right now. How do you take it off?
It's the edge, scroll over just a little bit, and one should appear.
There's a dude standing
or you can
there
do it in first.
ready.
Yeah, or you can do it in first-person view. You might not be zoomed in far enough.
I can't go up. Now I can go down. I can go back. Side to side. What am I doing here? Come on, Neil. Figure it out.
I don't know why it's not given to you. See if your watch officer there can go do it in first person.
This guy here. There we go. Point.
Skipper?
Rest. Leave position. All right. I got to click. Right click to get him out of it off his ass. Get up. Get up. Get up. Now. Work my way through here. Fast. Fast. Click on the ladder. Come on up. I gotta back up and click on it again, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like
there we go.
cigars and cigarettes is what I make the comparison to. If you're a cigar smoker, you better be ready to sit down and go through the entire ritual of smoking a cigar for an hour and a half. That's what U-Boat is. So, you know, the older sub-sims where you don't have so much micromanaging, that's the cigarette. You know, if you want to go ahead full, you both have their enjoyment. But if you want to go ahead full in the old school way, you just hit ahead full and they do it right away. And this, there's time involved. And somebody has to get up and walk to the engine room and engage the engines. And
yeah, no, I like that. I like that. I'll never, you know, if you get tired of it, you can always manage it from a higher level. But you have the option of kind of, you know, walking through the sub, being part of the crew, kind of just taking it at a cinematic viewpoint.
Yeah. It's also be a very good game for a 1X patrol if I was ever crazy or stupid enough to do one of those again.
Did you do one before?
Yeah, I posted it on, it's been some years. I posted it in SubSim. I think it took me 8 days.
I'll have to go and find that. That'd be pretty interesting. You know, there was a guy that did a Side Hunter 3, I think it was Side Hunter 3, 1X patrol. And I actually, the guy allowed me to take it and put it in the SubSim Almanac. But he was really, really humorous. It was so much fun reading his patrol. He just got into it like crazy. Started to get a little delusional, he said.
Mm-hmm.
What's the green dot for off on the horizon?
That's going to be like your mission objective or your side mission objective. And right now, what that is telling you is basically where the center of your assigned patrol area is.
Got it.
And frankly, that's something I think that they should edit out and get away with as far as the user interface. But that's going to be the geographical center of your patrol grid.
Okay. So now it's getting dark. It's getting nighttime. The sun has gone down. Now, I don't want too many spoilers, but at some point in the campaign, if you played this game as single player or campaign, let me think. I went back to the beginning and there were like 6 different, I guess, stories, you said. One of them was U-48. That's the one I took on. So I'm going to follow orders. I'm going to make patrols. At what point do I come back to port? When I'm ready to, or when I send in the report saying I'm out of torpedoes?
Okay, so to the left of the engine order telegraph, your current orders are to patrol sector AN-15 to AN-46 and travel 2,000 kilometers inside that area, and it shows you a progress bar there.
I got you.
Subsequent mission, like this is your first mission, so it's probably not going to give you a lot to do, but later missions, like your second mission, it'll say you have to patrol an assigned area and travel 2,000 kilometers inside of it and sink 10,000 tons of enemy shipping.
Okay.
So it'll give you a list of things that you've got to do. Now, when that patrol grid, when the progress bar goes all the way full, meaning you've traveled the full 2,000 kilometers, you've patrolled around 2,000 collective kilometers inside that patrol area, it'll pop up with an option to kind of teleport back to base. There will be a time penalty, so it may take 3, 4, 5 days for you to get back, and it'll cut scene to a cinematic on your return to port. Or you have the option, you can do the old school, click your waypoints along the way and navigate yourself back to port on your own.
Okay.
Side missions do come up. You'll get a mission from BDU, or you'll get a message rather through your radio operator from BDU, and they'll give you something. They'll tell you like, an experimental sonar technology has left Southampton and is bound for Boston for further testing. We believe the ship to be in this area. Intercept it and sink it.
Okay.
All other considerations secondary, and so you'll have to go find him. So you get those side missions. Some of the side missions will be, a friendly U-boat was badly damaged and they need spare parts. If you have any spare parts on your sub, rendezvous with them at a certain point. You have to remember, Tommy is listening in Bletchley Park.
Wow.
So if you get one of those missions to meet with a damaged sub, there is a chance,
You get ambushed.
you'll be ambushed. So
I like that. I like that.
yeah. And it's very immersive in the radio messages that you'll receive, because sometimes they will alert you, and sometimes they'll alert you just all too late that we believe our Enigma message has been decoded by the enemy, and they know you're going to be in this area, so you need to be on high alert. So there's a lot of thought that they've put into this that previous sub-sims have just kind of assumed.
Yeah. Got a lot of layers to it, a lot of complexity that's not it's straight up, basically just not as linear. You've got more layers. If you've got considerations like intercepted intel or HFDF, those things make you think a lot more tactically than just, go here and do this. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so if I was to continue traveling, my progress bar at the top right would get full, and at some point I could return to port. And is there any part of the game that people get stuck on, that they don't realize they have to do this before they can move forward, or they can't come into port because they didn't meet their objective? Anything that I should be aware of that people get stuck on that they can't figure out why?
Not really. The game's really good about popping up and telling you that your mission parameters have been met, and that it's, your mission is over. And it's very clear about what it's expecting you to do. So like in this case, this is super easy. You just have to travel 2,000 kilometers inside your assigned patrol grid. When that's over, you're going to get the drum beat, and it's going to tell you, hey, you've done everything you need to do. You can send a report to BDU that your mission's been completed. That'll award you some budget points. Yeah. And like I said, at that point you can either navigate yourself back to base, or there'll be a little thing you can click that does it for you.
Okay. All right. Well.
So at this point in this first mission, it's a simple mission. You just have to patrol around in this AN grid square and sink whatever you happen to come across.
Right.
And anyway,
and
there's not a lot of extra layers to it.
The save game function works pretty well.
Yeah, it auto saves. You in the settings menu, I think you can click and choose how often you want it to auto save.
Okay.
And all of these things function in the first-person view. I mean, if you want to dive, there's a lot of ways to dive the boat. I mean, we can do that on the depth gauge. We can do it through the click points on the depth gauge. We can actually, in first-person view, just walk over there and turn the valves and flood the tanks, and it'll go under.
Where am I? Whoop. Still not doing what I want to do. There we go. Let's see here. Does it automatically close the hatch?
Yeah, it will.
On duty.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the last guy in. Will close it.
Get in. So I just did something. What did I do? Let's see. I flood the tanks. All ballast tanks are empty.
Yes, sir.
So it's, oh, I see it. Flooding tanks. I saw it. There they go. Here they come.
Yeah, and in your compartment view, you can actually watch the tanks flood. If you go far enough forward or aft, you can actually see the ballast tanks fill with water.
What?
And
Let's see here. Work my way to the front. You're saying if I go up here, I can see a ballast tanks filled?
Yeah, if you're in the compartment view, like
Am
your
I?
damage control type view,
Oh, how do I do that?
Switch to
just mouse wheel out all the way.
All the way. Let's see, it takes you a second to catch up with me.
Yeah, you're still running to the torpedo room from my point of view.
Yeah.
I'm about 8 or 9 seconds behind you.
Okay. I'm still. There we go. I'm mousing out now.
Yeah, so if you get into that compartment view and go all the way to the forward torpedo room, far enough where you can actually see the tubes going out the front of the compartment.
Oh, right here then.
That's-
Okay.
That's your forward ballast tank. And if you order somebody to surface,
Yeah.
you'll actually see that water leave the tank.
blow the tanks.
And I don't know if you can, it's kind of dark, but if you scroll around the boat, you'll get fish swimming by.
Oh yeah, I saw that a couple times. That's pretty cool. So that's my ballast tank. That's
That's your tubes out the front and your
yeah.
ballast tank.
There it goes. Yeah, you're right. This is beautiful.
Switch to diesel engine.
I have to definitely applaud the developers of this game. You can tell they put a lot of thought and work into it. They didn't phone this in at all. This is a beautiful game.
Yeah, and like you're on your depth meter, on your depth gauge, where you have the icons to submerge or go to periscope depth or crash dive.
Yeah.
A couple of those icons were added based on suggestion from the community. So it's not like they don't listen, like the sound check.
Yeah. Routine sound check.
Like that.
Getting all those steps combined.
Yeah, and that was recommended in the Steam community. And I'll tell you, in 1 or 2 releases later, they had it in there.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, it makes sense. Plus, it's there's a reason why the players want that. It just makes sense. It's a smart move. All right. Well, John, is there anything else you want to add to this? I think we've covered this pretty thoroughly. I'm kind of looking forward to concluding this stream and playing the game now.
Yep, that's pretty much all I got. I mean, once you figure out the nuance of this kind of new style of playing this type of game, it gets easier, and you're going to spend a lot of your time in the segmented compartment view and in the map view. And if you get used to that, it gets a lot easier.
Okay.
And a lot more fun. More fun, if you engage in some of the side missions, and they'll send you on a raid to Scapa Flow, or they're setting up a weather station. So you have to be real careful about these boarding party missions, because if you get bounced while your boarding party is aboard that steamer that you stopped,
Yeah.
you risk losing that crew, that boarding party. So an officer or 2 officers and 3, 4, 5 of your sailors, you know, they're gone now, and you've invested a lot into them. So, like setting up the weather stations and putting spies on the land, and you know, some of those side missions aren't super historically accurate, but they're fun.
Yeah, they're fun,
You know,
and they're
like the
not completely inaccurate. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that the Kriegsmarine, you know, they did some of that. But you're saying if I goof up and I lose a couple guys in a boarding party, then if I get a mission to do something else, I may be in a jam because I don't have those guys available.
Yeah, you're going to be short a couple of officers, and that makes your life considerably more difficult because now you're spreading the workload. You know, right now you're spreading the workload among 5 officers. You can go see, as you spend your reputation points, you can, you know, get more officers aboard your boat as your reputation gets higher and higher, and that spreads the workload out. But if you lose some of these guys, I mean, they can be killed in an air raid against your boat, or
Yeah,
you know, they
yeah,
can be.
that puts some
There's all
real,
kind of reasons you can lose them.
yeah, that gives you real consequences to your actions. Though I like that. Of course, if you save the game, you can always load it back up again, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
I got Rick. I don't remember if do you remember Rick from our subsim meeting? He's a guy from California. He's a real cool dude. I think he always had
would
sunglasses
remember
on.
him if I saw him, or
Yeah, yeah, he's
or
about
if I
my
knew his-
size. Yeah, he's in the chat telling me he's surprised that I'm not already into this game. I guess he missed the very beginning because I tried to make excuses for why I didn't get into this game. I'll just make those excuses one more time. Basically, when this game came out, Wolfpack was about a month old, and so I had my hands full with Wolfpack, and I was still working as a manager at Airgas. So I started this game a couple times. I got into the tutorial, and if I remember right, it asked me to send a diver down, and then it was kind of scripted, which is fine. And it sent the diver down, and it said, "Oh, you're under attack. You have to leave the diver behind. Cut the rope. You have to sacrifice him." And it broke my heart because that diver was my first guy. So I kind of got kicked out of the game from doing that. Plus, to be honest with you, at the beginning, the interface wasn't as intuitive, at least for me. And I kind of got stuck doing one or two things, and I thought, well, I'll pick it up later. But with my work schedule and with Wolfpack demanding all my time, I just never got back into it. But I did, like I said earlier, I did say to myself, at least, at some point in the future, when I'm thinking, what am I going to do today? I'm going to play U-Boat, and I'm going to get into the career, and I'm going to work my way through the whole war. So, with John's help, I think I'm well on my way.
I didn't enjoy that early tutorial, you know. I wasn't a big fan of it, but they've totally revamped that, and I mean, they've made a whole host of changes to the game since it first came out. You know, when it first came out, I found it enjoyable, but like I said, it had a steep learning curve. The UI was kind of all over the place, and there's been a lot of these changes that have made it more enjoyable. But it still has, as you can see, there's still a steepness to learning how to play it.
Yeah.
But once you get over that hill, man, this, I mean, I've got, like, probably by the end of the day tomorrow, I will have passed 1,000 hours of playtime on this thing.
Yep. No, I can see it. I'm looking forward to it.
See how your diesel's smoking there?
Let me go back. Look, get out of here and turn around. If I can, turn around. There we go. Yep,
You can probably just
it.
mouse wheel it all the way. So that'll betray your position as you approach a convoy.
Really?
Yep. So they'll see you easier. So there's things you can do about that. If you switch to your electric motors, obviously you get rid of that diesel exhaust.
Yep.
But another thing is, as skill sets for your various officers begin to unlock, your chief engineer who manages that diesel engine, he will get better at his job, and he can run the engine more efficiently, and as long as he's assigned to it, you get rid of that.
That's so cool.
So they've thought of a lot.
Yeah, I can tell they have. That's a really good attention to detail. That makes the game more enjoyable. There's so many little things that you learn along the way, and every one of them is a joy, you know, because it just gets you more and more into the world of the U-boat war.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, well,
Neil,
John,
that's all I got.
I really appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you very much.
That's no problem. I'll send
Touch
you the bill.
base with you later, and like I say, you come down to South Houston sometime, come by Cougar Trap, and I'll buy you some barbecue, my friend.
Sounds like a plan, buddy. Enjoy playing the game.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your help.
Oh, and one more thing. I wanted to mention that I don't know how I got this handle on Discord, but it is not mine. I think this is just a junk account it threw me into. So
No problem. You can. I guess you can sort that out. You can change the name or something. But I did wonder what was going on with your handle. Thought that was interesting.
yeah, I'll get that fixed. So that's not me. Enjoy your time playing this, Neil. Thanks for inviting me to help you out with this.
You bet. Talk to you later, John.
All right. See you around, buddy.
Okay, well, there you go. I had my first guest on a series of Legends, the Subsim SOL broadcast. I'm going to try to get that started and keep it up about once a week, more or less. I have a stress-free life, so I don't get myself tied into schedules I can't keep. But I enjoyed that. I've got a lot to look forward to now with U-Boat. I've kind of caught up with Destroyer, and Wolfpack is in kind of a pre-build mode, so I'm going to be putting a lot of time in this game. I may have another live stream of this game maybe later this weekend. Appreciate you guys dropping by in the chat. Talk to you later. Have a good day.